Hey everybody, got the brake calipers in and gonna start getting some brake lines off of here. We got that master cylinder in. I took a line off from the front of that up to this block, and now I'm taking the rear brake line off. There's one here that went over to the other side, and I've got the wheel off over there. And you can see the little bracket right there. That's where the rubber brake line comes into, and the metal comes in from the top of that. There's a couple clips in there that the brake line attaches to. So I'm going to take this front brake line off, this rear brake line, and I'm keeping them all for patterns. And then I'll go get some brake lines and start to match the shapes. I've also got this new brake switch. That also get the brake line out of the way. We'll get ready to take the body off. Okay, we're on the left rear tire. I've disconnected the brake line here. There was a small nut clip right there, and then it come up to a block that's located on top of the clamp. So I've disconnected those, and now we can pull the left rear. So there's a really long line that comes from the front to a rubber connector on the front of this block. So don't know if you can, yeah, it's hard to see from this angle. And then the right rear goes around the differential case. Okay, and here on the right rear side, I've loosened this brake line up, and interesting little, just a little press clamp helps hold the brake line in place on the right side. So the left side had a bolt into the axle, and the right side has this spring clamp. Got the brake lines all off, and what I did is laid them all out and made a parts list. Used the string to trace along the length and measure it. And there's a couple sizes. There's a 1/4 inch, so I'll need a couple feet, a 1/4 inch for the main line that comes off the master cylinder up to that first block. And then the rest of it looks like it's about 3/16. On the calipers, it measures like 186, 188, somewhere around there. So it's pretty close to 3/16 OD. And then after I measure, add all those up, then I need about 20 to 24 foot of the small stuff and 2 feet of the big. And then I've numbered the connectors. Gotta have 10 of the connectors for this and 2 for that size. Okay, as I start to look at these brake lines, the rusting on them, especially the main line going back to the rear tires, has some significant pitting. The other key concern with brake lines, of course, is if we look at this, you can see that there's old fluid inside these. So they're jam full of old hardened brake fluid. So that's another reason we want to replace them. So I've got the new brake lines. In this case, they have some new material. It meets the OEM specs, but this is a little more flexible, easier to work with. So I'm going to put these lines in. So this little short guy on the left front was the hardest, and I have to make sure that this kind of fits in the center of each one of these fittings here. So I think we finally got it. We got it centered there, and then the other. So now we're ready to put the fittings and do the flaring. So with this brake line, with this flaring tool, it's got what's called a double flare. So you cut the pipe and then you set this tool to the height, which I flipped that black piece upside down, and then I got the I matched it to the the amount of pipe sticking through to that base height. And then you flip it over, and then we're gonna put the first flare like they show in figure B, and then we'll pull it back out and finish in figure C. And then after you use the cone and press it down on C, you end up with this real nice flare that looks just like the original. Went ahead and took the brake sensor off the block before I start putting these new lines on, and I'm just going to use a Dremel tool and shine this brass component back up before I put it back in. Okay, we got all the brake lines made. This is basically all the brake line components to the car, and the rubber pieces that go from the metal lines over to the brake calipers. And I've got new brake calipers also, so we'll start to put it together. I'm going to work my way from the master cylinder that we put in forward up to where this block was here, and then I'll put the right front line in over, because I've got that wheel off. So I'll start with that right front, assemble that, and then work my way over to the left front, since I got the jack stands under the car on the front, and then I'll switch to the back. And with these junction blocks, I went ahead and polished those up, put some paint on the bracket that mounts to the frame. It's pretty easy. I just used a little Dremel tool and they polished up nice. Got the first line, haven't tightened anything yet. Got the crush rings in there with the main bolt and the first line up to the block here. I'm just kind of leaving everything sort of loose fitting for now to make sure it all lines up. Next I'll run the line over that way to the right front wheel. Okay, on the right front brake, got the line over here close, and I got to put this clip in to hold this the rubber piece back on. These clips go with this curved side up. That way when you push that in, it'll have some tension to keep that in place. We also remember on this right front, we had only 2 bolts in there. There's 3 bolt holes available. So I just got another bolt and we'll use all 3 this time. One thing I need to do is change the sequence. I need to put this on the caliper first because I have to spin it to tighten it. And then this one just uses that clip to hold it in place, so I can't spin it, so I gotta take that back off. While I was doing the left front tire, I noticed the steering was really loose, and this did not have a cotter pin. Neither did these 2 up here. Both of those were missing cotter pins, and they were very loose, so I had to clamp them, tighten everything up, put cotter pins. Both of these guys were really loose. I'll go tighten the other side. There's a couple over there. There's a couple more. I'll go get those tightened up, and I think the steering will work a lot better on this after this. Okay, got all of the brake lines run, and now getting ready to put this brake sensor in here. use a 1-inch wrench to tighten it. And then after this, get ready to start bleeding the brakes and see if we get the brake pedal. Okay, I filled the reservoir up, and now I'm getting ready to head back and do the rear brake. Longest lines first, so I'll do the right rear. Okay, so I'm on the right rear tire. Got the 1/4-inch wrench on the bleed valve, and I'm using my vacuum puller here. Put 15-20 pounds, pump it up, and then I just crack it, let it go down to about 10, and then I'll shut the valve back and wait till I get fluid. Tried multiple vacuum attempts and couldn't get it to start, so I'm gonna have to go the old-fashioned method, get a helper, and I'll have my wife push on the pedal while I'm doing the bleeding, and then I'll have to check this reservoir pretty often. It's not that large. Okay, we got all the brake lines in, system's all bled, nice solid brake pedal. Brake pedal can come out of there when we get ready to take the body off. Just a quick look underneath. See the brake lines come across there. There's a junction block right there. Comes across the differential with a couple connections there, so everything's working good. Brake's done.